Okay, so this video goes along with the one that I did about Google Forms if you want to be able to quickly tell which of your students actually answered the questions to be able to give them credit for it. You can do that fairly easily by, remember I showed you how to save the responses in a spreadsheet. The reason I like it is because then you get a list of email addresses, and these are all the GVSU email addresses. We're going to use these to match, right? So obviously if you have a whole list of them here, you can just run down, you can right click, you can copy them, or you can Control C and copy them, and then you can take them and just paste them into your spreadsheet. So I have a fake spreadsheet here, so these are fake students and fake email addresses except for mine. um, and so I have a number of other things, right? I make a separate tab for these Google Forms things, which I call Remind for various reasons. It doesn't matter. So if I have a bunch of email addresses, I can just paste them here like this, right? So I could paste them all here if I had a bunch of them, and then I'm going to match them. So I'm going to match them using the if is number match combo feature. So here's how it works. Equals if bracket is number bracket match. So what the match feature does is it matches things. So we need a lookup value, right? So what we're going to compare it to. I have all my classes emails over here. So I'm going to compare it to that class list email right there. I'm going to put a $ next to this so that when I copy this formula horizontally across after I'm done, that it will stay in the H column. I go back to my Remind tab. I'm going to compare it to this list here. So, and if I do it this way, then the email addresses don't have to be in order or anything. It's just going to compare all of the email addresses in this column to that particular one, in this case, Joe's email address, right? I want it to be an exact match, so I'm going to put a 0 there. If there is a match, so if Joe's email address is found here, then that'll mean it's a number. If it's a number, right, if he did it, then I want it to show up as something. So I'm going to use a 1 for that, and if he didn't do it, I'm going to give him a 0, right? And that should work. So I should be able to copy this formula down, right? And so now instead of being H2, which is where Joe was, it's going to be H3, which is where Jane was, and this is going to be H4, which is where Jane was. I can also then just copy this across, right? And so as I copy it across, right, instead of this matching to the column C, this one now matches to column D, but it's still matching the same email address. So in this case, you can see I made it easy. So Jane, James, and Deborah did it, so they all get 1s, the other people didn't. In this, we have Joe, Deborah, and Zoe, so Joe, Deborah, and Zoe. In this case, I even had Deborah did it twice, but she only gets 1 point for it because you can only get 1 point, even if you did it twice. Right. So it's a pretty easy way to match it and know which students did it, and then you can easily give them credit for it. Hope this is helpful.